Hello and welcome to a genteel black hole, the home of my bookish rambles. My name's Ali, and this is the used bookstore tag. This is a set of questions all about second-hand bookshops, as the title might suggest. It was created by Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, and she was kind enough to tag me in her original video, so I'll put the link in the description, and hopefully it should pop up somewhere there. And yeah, I'll just get on with it. Question 1 is, what is your favourite or most often visited used bookstore, and what sets it apart or makes it special? Well, my most visited bookshop is the one nearest my house, for the very simple reason that it's the one nearest my house. It's the only bookshop that I can get to without having to take the car. And given my kind of current health stuff for the last few years, yeah, that's the only bookshop that I have actually been able to visit in person, for which I'm immensely grateful. But yeah, I mean, that's really the main reason why I love it so much, is the sheer accessibility of it. Question 2 is, does your used bookstore take credit? If so, how much credit do you get for your books? Do they give you cash for your books? My used bookstore does not give you cash, but their system is for every 4 books you give, you can take 1 book. Paperbacks. I think they would let you take a hardback for, I guess it depends how good the books were that you gave them, I suppose. But yeah, the general rule is 4 books in, 1 book out. Question 3 is, how often do you go to your used bookstore? Can you share how much credit you have there? I can't say exactly how often I go, just because it really varies on how much energy I have, how much time I have. I try to go like every few months. I did go like a couple of weeks ago, but I realized, like, as soon as I got there, that I had pushed myself too far energy wise, and I kind of got overwhelmed and immediately went home. So I haven't really been shopping there for a while now. But I do want to go back soon, because I have a pile of books that I want to take in and get rid of. And I do also have credit from the last time that I took in books. I took in 8 books, so I currently have credit for 2 paperbacks. Question 4 is, what, if any, restrictions does your used bookstore have on how you can use your credit? Yeah, I think they kind of divide their stock into paperback and hardback. So, yeah, if you have credit for 2 paperbacks, then you're not going to get 2 hardbacks for that credit. I think you might be able to kind of haggle and maybe use like credit for 2 paperbacks to get 1 hardback, because they're generally priced £2.50 for paperbacks and £5 for hardbacks. So I assume that would also translate to like the credit being twice the amount for a hardback, but I don't actually know. But that's the general system. Question 5 is, how is your used bookstore organized? What do you like or dislike about how it's organized? My local used bookstore is a bit of a labyrinth, actually. It very much reminds me of the Terry Pratchett quote that my channel name comes from. It seems kind of mysteriously bigger inside than it could possibly be. It's something of a TARDIS in that regard. So yeah, I don't know if I can describe verbally how it's organized. I can kind of picture the labyrinth in my head as I imagine going around it. Like near the door, there's a bunch of like particularly popular authors, like outside of whatever section they should normally be in. So you can easily access like just a load of John le Carre, a load of Stephen King, etc. And then you pass further on. There's history, and there's like women's fiction, and then there's a sort of hub area further on with like a table in the middle that's got like knickknacks and stuff. And then there's like around the hub, you've got like sci-fi, there's YA, and then like if you follow the sort of spokes of the hub, there's the till at the back, and then there's like hardbacks and like Folio Society, like lovely special editions. There's poetry around there. Down another spoke, there's the kind of general fiction section, which also has like diaries and letters, like famous people's diaries, not just like blank diaries. And like there's another spoke where there's like art books, art history, music, photography, that sort of stuff. They also sell furniture, so there's like a whole other section with furniture and rugs and like greeting cards and cuddly toys. I don't know if you can see on the top shelf up there that Highland cow. I bought that from their furniture section. So yeah, it's a mess, is what it is, but it's a very charming and lovely mess. What I do dislike about how it's organized, though, is sometimes the aisles are a bit too narrow and there's too many boxes like piled up around the place, which just mean that steering my wheelchair around can get a bit tricky, and I sometimes have to ask them to move stuff, which, you know, they're very friendly and very helpful and they do move stuff, but it'd be nice to not have to ask. But I am aware that they have just like way more stock than they can actually fit on their shelves, so I can't really blame them for that, because unless someone comes and buys like 1,000 books from them in one fell swoop, they're just always going to have that problem. And they do help out, and you know, I'll work around it. But that would be my complaint. Would just be sometimes there's not enough turning circle for a wheelchair in there. Question 6 is, what is the best find or deal you got at a used bookstore? I think the favourite thing that I've ever got from that bookshop was a lovely hardback edition, Folio Society edition of Shakespeare's sonnets. Yeah, it's a beautiful book. I have also like kept my Arden paperback copy of the sonnets as well, because that comes with like critical essays and really useful footnotes and stuff, whereas the Folio Society one is just plain the sonnets, no footnotes, no nothing. It does have some lovely kind of woodblock illustrations, but yeah, if you need some footnotes with your Shakespeare, you don't want that one. But it's such a lovely object as a book that yeah, actually I do want it. Question 7 is there something you saw at your used bookstore and now you regret not purchasing it. Well, the most recent time that happened to me, I did actually go back and purchase it. So nothing is springing to mind in terms of books that got away, because I did go back and get it. But yeah, that was a paperback of sci-fi short stories. Like, it was like a compilation of, like, I think it was supposed to be each author's favorite of their own short stories. In fact, I made a video about it, and come to think of it, if you want to see the bookshop that I'm talking about, you can go and watch that video. Link up here, I hope. But yeah, you can get an idea of what the inside of that bookshop is actually like from that video. It remains probably my most watched video on the channel, and something of an outlier, because I don't normally make kind of vlog videos like that. And because I can't get to other bookshops, really, I'm not going to make any more videos like that. There's no point in making a second video going to the same bookshop. But yeah, if you want to have a look at that bookshop, yeah, that's the video. Question 8 is there a book you're always on the hunt for at your used bookstore? I don't think there's a specific book that I'm always on the hunt for. I have my list of books that I am interested in getting. Like, it's mostly sort of classics at the moment, is kind of the vein that I'm currently mining. But yeah, I think because I'm a little bit too impatient to wait until I find a used copy. So if I find a used copy, I will snap it up. But if the mood takes me to read it right away, then I'm going to buy a new copy or maybe an ebook, because I have to obey my whim. If the mood takes me to read it, I'm not waiting to find a used copy. Question 9 is, if you could run your used bookstore for a day, what changes would you make? I think the main change I would make to my local secondhand bookshop would be the accessibility. I would really love for there to be, like, wider aisles, fewer boxes of books lying about the place. Having said that, from a practical standpoint, I don't know how I would achieve that, because they have more stock than they have room for. So that's the dream, but how I would achieve it, don't know. Question 10 is, if you could go used book shopping with any booktuber in any city, who would you go with and where? And I mean, that's a tough question, isn't it? Because I haven't met any other booktubers as yet. And also, travelling for me is just not something that's likely to happen anytime soon. So, really, what would be ideal is if any other booktubers happen to be in my area, happen to be passing, and wanted to hang out at the bookshop that I've been talking about, then I'll happily go and take you to that bookshop. But in terms of going to another city and meeting people there, that sounds exhausting. I don't think that's going to happen. Certainly not anytime soon. It's nice to dream about, and there's certainly a lot of booktubers that I would like to meet. I mean, Kelly, who created this tag, for one thing. Aaron from Aaron Read a Book or Aaron Read a Book. Mark from The Book Thing, or Thing from the Bookmark, as I like to call him. Lots of other people. BookTube seems to be such a a warm and welcoming community, and I would happily hang out with any of you, at least for as long as my limited energy would allow. But yeah, you'd have to come to me, which, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so that seems unlikely for the time being.
No, it's the time being.
Just pissing about now. And the final question is, tag some booktubers. Well, I don't need to tag Kelly because she created this tag. And I also don't need to tag Aaron because Kelly already tagged him. So I think this is going to have to be a case of, if you see this and you would like to answer the questions yourself, then consider yourself tagged. Because, I don't actually know who to tag. Sorry. Anyway, thank you very much, Kelly, for tagging me, and for creating this tag. It was a lot of fun to take part in. And yeah, that's about it from me today. And I will see you when I see you.